achievements in life. But we really want to talk about what she's done for the House. Representative Jones has served the people of District 47, which is parts of Milton, Roswell, and Alpharetta, since 2003. Her distinguished record of service in the People's House, includes many, many leadership positions. But most importantly, since 2010, Representative Jones has served this body with excellence as our Speaker Pro Tem. She has worked hard to earn the respect and confidence of all of us. She represents what we need in this important leadership role. She puts character and principles first. She has a professional work ethic. She has the knowledge of House rules, protocols, and decorum. She is committed to openness and transparency. She is a skilled legislator and communicator, and she is dedicated to this House and to each of you. One of the first things I learned when I came to the General Assembly was that I could trust Jan Jones. For you new folks, you're going to understand how important trust is. She is honest, open-minded, and fair. Her door really is always open. It didn't matter what my need or question was. Jan was always there. She listens, she cares, she acts, she wants to help. And she does this not just for her own district, but for all of Georgia. She knows Georgia and our state's needs, and she puts those needs ahead of her own self-interest. As we each work to do the best we can to serve our constituents, we need Jan Jones to continue as Speaker Pro Tem. Representative Jones understands the challenges we face as members of this House. As we chart the path for the future of all Georgians, she's going to take us there. I proudly ask for your support and vote for Representative Jan Jones for Speaker Pro Tem of the Georgia House. I thank you, and Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from the 121st House District, Representative Barry Fleming, to speak to the nomination.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of this House, I rise to second the nomination of Jan Jones for Speaker Pro Tem. Mr. Speaker, it was back in 2002 when I had the honor of first being elected to this body. There were 25 freshmen then in our Republican caucus, a full third of our class. And in that class of very thoughtful and capable public servants, there were a couple of folks I recognized fairly quickly that I thought would be great members of this House. One of them happened to be named David. Another one happened to be named Jan. I think there was also another fellow in that class named Ed that the pastor talked about, but we'll keep it good and we won't go there. It was evident to me, as I mentioned early on, and I realized that Jan Jones would be one of the brightest, most hardworking, capable members of this House of Representatives, and that certainly has turned out to be the case. She has a passion for the issues that face this House. She has a particular passion, and I've watched this over the years, for the issue of the education of our children in this state. Probably, though, most important to me is I have noticed over the years that Jan Jones does simply not talk about her Christian faith, but she lives it out in her walk, and I thank her for that leadership. Jan has faithfully and successfully helped lead this House and our whole state. We need to continue to have her as our Speaker Pro Tem. So, Mr. Speaker, I proudly second the nomination of Jan Jones, not only my colleague and my friend, but a leader for the state of Georgia, for the position of Speaker Pro Tempore of the Georgia House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
On the election of the Speaker Pro Tem of the House of Representatives for the 2017-2018 term, those voting for Representative Jan Jones should vote yes or green. The clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the election of the Speaker Pro Tem of this House, Representative Jan Jones has received 170 votes and is thereby declared, having received the majority of the votes cast, is declared to be the Speaker Pro Tem of this House for the ensuing term. The chair appoints as a committee of escort the gentleman from the 44th, Representative Don Parsons, the gentleman from the 167th, Representative Jeff Jones, the gentleman from the 149th, Representative Jimmy Pruitt, the gentleman from the 180th, Representative Jason Spencer, the gentleman from the 110th, Representative Andy Welch, the gentleman from the 27th, Representative Lee Hawkins, the lady from the 24th, Representative Sherry Gilligan, the gentleman from the 157th, Representative Bill Werkheiser, the gentleman from the 75th, Representative Mike Glanton, the gentleman from the 165th, Representative Mickey Stevens, will the Committee of Escort please escort the Speaker Pro Tem into the House? As Representative Fleming pointed out, Speaker Pro Tem and I came to this House together 14 years ago. And what's been said is absolutely true. She not only is a great leader for this state and for this House, but she has been a valued ally and is my friend. And I am pleased to present to you the Speaker Pro Tem for the 2017-2018 term, Speaker Pro Tem Jan Jones.
Thank you. When I hear introductions like that, I always look around and think they must be talking about someone else and someone else needs to come up. Someone had to poke me and tell me, come on. Thank you for allowing me to serve you. I want to thank the gentlelady of the 173rd, Darlene Taylor, for her generous introduction and first. And I want to thank the gentleman that I came in with from the 121st, Barry Fleming of Harlem, for his kind remarks. As a Christian, I'm grateful to serve by the undeserved grace of God and to have the good support of the people of the 47th District in North Fulton. Thank you, Kalen, my husband, and our 4 children who have made and continue to make my service possible. They've stood by me patiently as your families stand by you and make your service possible. I'm also grateful to this body for the good judgment it once showed in again electing David Ralston as Speaker. I'm honored to serve this House and you, Speaker Ralston, on its behalf. I'm excited for John Burns' leadership again as Majority Leader, and I look forward to a continued good relationship with the Minority Leader, Stacey Abrams. Welcome to the 27 newly elected freshmen to the People's House, and a Capitol building, as the Speaker said, where others have served since 1889. I hope you remain humbled and joyful each time you pass under the dome, rising 237 feet above ground. Thank you for your commitment to making a real difference for your neighbors, and in particular, those Georgians you will never hear from or personally meet, but they are also counting on you. Keep in your mind's eye not what you are here for, but who you are here for. My pastor once suggested we catch a bad case of purpose, because God created us on purpose for His purpose. I'm committed to support each member of this body, Republican, Democrat, rural, suburban, all over Georgia, in continuing to strengthen Georgia as a state where young people really can achieve the American dream by surpassing even their parents' dreams. We are so very fortunate to live and lead at this particular point in time. We were elected, everyone in here, on November 8th to represent through our actions the beliefs and principles that Georgians hold dear. Providing grade schools, technical colleges, and universities relevant to the 21st century opportunities. Supporting an even stronger environment to businesses so they can continue to be job creators. Offering a safety net while also valuing the family's role as the real glue in vibrant communities, and caring for every Georgian, those living in thriving communities and those in communities in need of new ideas so they too can thrive. As I serve you, remember that I care deeply about the quiet people serving in the House and living in your districts from Toccoa to Folkston. As your pro tem, I'll listen to all voices, but never forgetting the silent center, the ones raising the family, meeting the payroll, paying the taxes, and volunteering at the local church and baseball field. The People's House hears them and makes their concerns ours. Thank you, my selfless colleagues, for the trust you have placed in me as Speaker Pro Tem of the Georgia House of Representatives. I'm proud to know you, work with you, and uphold the honor and traditions of this House. I pledge to serve Speaker Ralston and each one of you as we go about doing what is good and right for the great state of Georgia. Thank you.
The next order of business is the election of the clerk of the House for the 2017-2018 term. The chair recognizes Representative Rick Jaspers.
Mr. Speaker, it's with great pride I stand to nominate a gentleman who is a friend to all on this floor, who has served the great state of Georgia and this House effectively and with a smile, Mr. Bill Riley.
Representative Jaspers has nominated Bill Riley to be the clerk of the House for the 2017-2018 term. The chair recognizes Representative Holcomb.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the nomination of Bill Riley as clerk of this House. Mr. Riley is committed to serving our state in this House, and we will all be well served by electing him to serve as another term as clerk of the People's House.
Representative Holcomb has seconded the nomination of Bill Riley to be re-elected clerk of the House. Chair recognizes the majority leader for a motion. The majority leader has moved that the nominations for clerk be closed and that the entire membership cast their votes for the election of Bill Riley as clerk. Is there any objection to the nominations being closed? Is there any objection to directing the deputy clerk to cast the entire vote of the membership who are present for the election of Bill Riley as clerk of this body? The chair hears none, and the deputy clerk is so directed. On the election of the clerk of the House, Bill Riley, having received the entire vote of the membership who are present, he is hereby declared elected clerk for the ensuing term. The chair appoints as a committee of escort the lady from the 43rd, Representative Sharon Cooper, the gentleman from the 133rd, Representative Pizzold, the gentleman from the 32nd, Representative Allen Powell, the lady from the 93rd District, Representative Darshan Kendrick, the gentleman from the 127th District, Representative Brian Prince, the lady from the 85th District, Representative Carla Drenner. The Committee of Escort will please present the clerk to the House. At this time, the chair will administer the oath of office to the clerk of the House. Do you hereby swear that you will discharge the duties of the office of the clerk of the House of Representatives faithfully and to the best of your skill and knowledge? Do you further swear that you are not the holder of any public money due this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof unaccounted for, that you are not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, nor of any one of the several states, nor of any foreign state, that you are otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and laws of Georgia? If you do, please state, "I do."
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
The next order of business is the election of a doorkeeper for the House for the 2017-2018 term. The House is now open for nominations for doorkeeper. Chair recognizes the gentleman from the 144th House District, Representative Bubber Epps. We're trying to get some volume to you.
Thank you, John. That's it. Thank you, sir. Mr. Speaker, it's my honor at this time to nominate a gentleman for our doorkeeper who epitomizes the very character of this chamber, the Honorable Phil Tucker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I place Mr. Tucker's name in the nomination.
Representative Bubber Epps has nominated Phil Tucker as doorkeeper of this House. The chair recognizes the lady from the 113th District, Representative Pam Dickerson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to second the motion. Phil Tucker is doorkeeper of this House. Thank you.
Representative Dickerson has seconded the nomination of Phil Tucker to be doorkeeper for the ensuing term. The chair recognizes the majority leader of the House for a motion.
See if I can speak up a little better this time, Mr. Clerk. Congratulations. Mr. Speaker, I would move at this time the nominations for doorkeeper be closed and that the entire membership cast their votes for the election of the very best doorkeeper, Phil Tucker.
The majority leader has moved that this House, the nominations be closed and that the entire membership of the House cast their votes for the election of Phil Tucker as doorkeeper. Is there any objection to the nominations being closed? Chair hears none and the nominations are closed. Is there any objection to directing the clerk of the House to cast the entire vote of the membership who are present for the election of Phil Tucker as doorkeeper? The chair hears none and the clerk is so directed. On the election of doorkeeper, Phil Tucker has received the entire vote of the membership who are present, and he is hereby declared elected doorkeeper for the 2017-2018 term of this House. The next order of business is the election of messenger for the House for the 2017-2018 term. The House is now open for nominations for messenger. Chair recognizes Representative Dempsey from the 13th District for a nomination.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to nominate a good friend to each of us, and especially to you, who keeps our House running well, Betsy Lynch, for House Messenger.
The lady from the 13th District has nominated Betsy Lynch to be reelected as messenger. The chair recognizes the gentleman from the 81st District, Representative Scott Holcomb. You're a popular guy today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is an absolute pleasure to second the nomination of Betsy Lynch as messenger. She has been an exemplary messenger, and this House will greatly benefit from her continued service.
Representative Holcomb has seconded the nomination of Betsy Lynch to be messenger. Chair recognizes the majority leader for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the nominations for messenger be closed and that this entire House membership cast their vote for her election.
The majority leader has moved that the nominations for messenger of the House be closed and that the entire membership cast their votes for the election of Betsy Lynch as messenger. Is there any objection to closing the nominations? The chair hears none and the nominations are closed. Is there any objection to directing the clerk to cast the entire vote of the membership who are present for the election of Betsy Lynch as messenger? The chair hears none, and the clerk is so directed. On the election of messenger for this House for the 2017-2018 term, Betsy Lynch, having received the entire vote of the membership who are present, is hereby declared elected messenger for the ensuing term. The chair recognizes the majority leader for the purpose of offering a resolution.
Mr. Speaker, before I move forward with the resolution, if you will, I'd just like to congratulate you, Speaker Pro Tem Jones, clerk, messenger, doorkeeper, for the wonderful work you do for us as members of this body, and to say congratulations to my colleagues as we begin the work of this House. We'll work together with Leader Abrams, and we'll have a successful year. I'm very confident and energized, if you will, that this will be a fabulous year, the next 2 years for this House. With that, we will move forward with our first resolution would be House Resolution 4, that lets the Senate know that we're ready to do business. If Mr. Clerk, if you will, read the
Clerk will read the resolution.
House Resolution Number 4, by Representative Burns, the 159th, to notify the Senate and the House of Representatives has convened and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes the majority leader to speak to the resolution.
This is a simple resolution. It notifies the Senate that we are ready to go, that we convened in the regular session. Now, I know, as most of you do, I saw some senators this morning, I think, hanging around. Most of them, I think, maybe even offering for higher office, if you can believe that or not. So I read in the media. But we hope, I certainly do, that they are put those personal agendas aside for a couple of months, park some of that ambition, let's get on with the people's work, and let's move forward with the people's business of this state. Mr. Speaker, I would ask that this body would adopt House Resolution 4 and that we adopt and pass it, and we move forward, and at this time I yield the will, Mr. Speaker. Or unless there's a question.
Mr. Leader, you mentioned this was a simple resolution. Is it simple enough for them to understand, do you think?
Well, you know, I think a couple years ago, you said it should be written in crayon. We went ahead and followed your admonition that we would do that, and I think it is pretty much to the point, and I think they can understand, and we look forward to them having a firm grasp on the business of the people.
Is there any objection to the adoption of House Resolution 4, notifying the Senate that the House is convened? The chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. The chair recognizes the majority leader for the purpose of offering a resolution.
Mr. Speaker, on the desk you will find our next resolution. I would ask us to consider with the adoption of House Resolution 5. Mr. Clerk, would you read the caption to House Resolution 5?
House Resolution Number 5 by Representative Burns, the 159th, adopting the rules of the House of Representatives and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes the majority leader to explain the resolution.
Every 2 years, we adopt the rules of this House, and they are on your desk now, the rules from the 15-16 session. Those rules that are adopted are the rules that we live by here to keep order, keep decorum, and allow the Speaker to make sure that we're efficient in our work. We want to adopt all of those rules that were in effect from the 15-16 session with a couple of additions to that rule. One of them is the visual displays in the House chamber. That's an addition to Rule 1.9. As you can see, we have great new message boards that make our work more visible. And this addition is to account for the emerging technologies that we all know are so beginning to be so familiar with, particularly as it relates to the use of video and digital imaging during the debate on the House floor. The current rules of the House is that any visual displays, such as a placard, stickers, or signs, must be approved by the Speaker. Since these days we are all using digital imaging and video on the big screens more than using signs or placards, this rule change is necessary to reflect modern technology. And it simply confirms what the House policy currently is and has been. You can use video and digital imaging, but you need to give advance notice to the Speaker and get his permission to ensure the House business runs smoothly and orderly, and also to ensure that everyone has a chance equally to use the images they want to use. This rule is simply about decorum, as I said, in the chamber, and ensures the business of the House is done in a fair, efficient manner without unnecessary disruptions or delays. The second addition is in Rule 11.8. It's the creation of committees. We're proposing that we create a new appropriations subcommittee on transportation and infrastructure. The new appropriations subcommittee is necessary in the large part because of the new state revenue for transportation purposes, those orange cones the Speaker mentioned, that are coming in from, those revenues coming in from HB 170 that we passed, this body passed in 2015. With these significant new funds now being raised and appropriated for badly needed transportation infrastructure improvements, this committee is needed to oversee this subcommittee is needed to oversee those appropriations and ensure those taxpayer funds are being appropriately and correctly and responsibly spent. This subcommittee will oversee appropriations to GDOT, GRADA, and CERTA, which previously were part of the Economic Development Subcommittee. Chairman Houston, Chairman of the Economic Development Subcommittee, supports the creation of this new subcommittee. As an aside, I'd like for you to know this. I believe the Senate has 13 subcommittees of appropriations. This will be our 8th subcommittee of appropriations. So we're still being much more efficient than they are in our appropriations process with these fewer subcommittees, that we get the people's work done and make sure that our funding is spent in the appropriate way, responsibly, so it best serves the people of Georgia. Mr. Speaker, I would take a question if we need to on the rules. If we don't have a question, I would ask for your favorable consideration and adoption of these rules.
You do not appear to have any questions.
I yield the will.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution? Is there objection? Hearing none on the adoption of the House rules, it is ordered that the rules are adopted without objection. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader for the purpose of offering a resolution.
Mr. Speaker, now I would ask the clerk if he would read House Resolution 6, which is our standard housekeeping resolution that we pass every 2 years in the biennial, in the beginning of the biennial.
Clerk will read.
House Resolution number 6 by Representative Burns in the 159th, relative to officials, employees, and committees in the House of Representatives and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes the Majority Leader to explain the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Clerk. This resolution is also passed at the beginning of every biennium and is obviously very important. This resolution allows us to hire interns and provide expense reimbursements for those folks. It allows us to pay for doorkeepers, messengers of the House, and to keep this House running smoothly. And take care of those who keep us safe during the session, which is obviously pretty important. This resolution allows us to employ staff members such as assistant clerks, calendar clerks, secretaries, typists, mail clerks, office personnel, and aides, policy analysts, and the hundreds of other staff members who are indispensable to us and who help us to carry out our official duties. One more important part of this one. This resolution also provides compensation for committee days, committee of one days, and study committees. I think y'all like that part. Mr. Speaker, I'd ask for a favorable consideration of this resolution, House Resolution 6.
Is there any objection to the adoption of House Resolution 6? The chair hears none and the resolution is adopted. The chair recognizes the majority leader for the purpose of offering a resolution.
Mr. Speaker, I'd ask now that we consider House Resolution 7, that if I'm asked the clerk, if he would read the caption of House Resolution 7.
House Resolution 7, House Resolution number 7 by Representative Burns, the 159th, calling a joint session of the House of Representatives and the Senate for the purpose of hearing a message from the governor, inviting the justices of the Supreme Court and the judges of the Court of Appeals to be present at the joint session and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes the majority leader to speak to the resolution.
This resolution is also very important to this House, to the people of this state. We're calling for this joint session of the House and Senate for the purpose of hearing the State of the State address from our governor, the Honorable Nathan Deal. For your planning purposes, the State of the State is scheduled for this Wednesday, January the 11th, 2017, at 11 a.m. in this chamber, the People's House. But as the Speaker will instruct you, you will need to arrive a little early. But in the meantime, I'll ask for your favorable consideration of this resolution. If no questions, Mr. Speaker, I'll yield the will.
Is there objection to the adoption of House Resolution 7? The chair hears none and the resolution is adopted. The chair recognizes the majority leader for the purpose of offering a resolution.
We're about to get there, y'all. This resolution, House Resolution 8, which is also on your desk, deals with the state of the judiciary. Mr. Clerk, if you would, read the resolution.
Clerk will read the resolution.
House Resolution number 8 by Representative Burns, the 159th, calling a joint session of the House of Representatives and the Senate for the purpose of hearing a message from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, inviting each other justice of the Supreme Court and each judge of the Court of Appeals to be present at the joint session and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes the majority leader to speak to the resolution.
This resolution is also fairly self-explanatory. We're calling for a joint session of the House and Senate for the purpose of hearing that spellbinding address from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Georgia. I'm sorry if I said that. Chief Justice Hines, and I think maybe one of his first addresses, and to the state of judiciary. For your planning purposes on this one also, the state of judiciary is scheduled for Wednesday, January 25th, 2017 at 11 a.m. in this chamber, and the Speaker will give further instructions as to how we should proceed there. In the meantime, I'll certainly ask for your favorable consideration of this resolution. Mr. Speaker, I yield the will.
Is there any objection to the adoption of House Resolution 8? Hearing none, it is so ordered. Chair recognizes the majority leader for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I would ask that the immediate transmittal of the House's motion to convene and move forward with our session today, that it be immediately transmitted to the Senate.
Majority Leader has moved that House Resolution 4 be immediately transmitted to the Senate. Is there objection? Hearing none, it is so ordered. The Senate has sent a message, so I feel better knowing that they're over there. but they have sent a message that they have adopted a Senate resolution to notify the governor of Georgia that the General Assembly has convened. Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution by this House? Hearing none, the resolution is adopted, and the chair appoints as a committee of notification on the part of the House the following members: the gentleman from the 27th, Representative Hawkins; the gentleman from the 30th, Representative Donahue; the gentleman from the 29th, Representative Dubnik; the gentleman from the 103rd, Representative Barr; the gentleman from the 10th, Representative Rogers; the gentleman from the 178th, Representative Nimmer; the gentleman from the 140th, Representative Dickey; the lady from the 175th, Representative Carter. Chair recognizes the majority leader for the purpose of offering a resolution.
Would ask the clerk to read House Resolution 9, which is an adjournment resolution.
House Resolution number 9 by Representative Burns, the 159th, a resolution relative to meetings and adjournments of the General Assembly and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes the majority leader to explain the resolution.
We've worked with Leader Calsert over in the Senate on an adjournment resolution that will get us started, much like we did last year. We've made good progress on a resolution that will take us through the end of the session. But at this time, we can offer this resolution. I think a copy is in your folder. It's pretty self-explanatory. Basically, we're in 4 days this week. The membership will be out next week for Martin Luther King our holiday on Monday. Then on Tuesday, after Dr. King's birthday celebration on Monday in the celebration, on Tuesday and Wednesday, the members of the Appropriations Committee will meet in joint session with the Senate on Tuesday and Wednesday. Then the membership, many of you will be going to Washington to celebrate the inauguration. Certainly, you will be no activity from this House on Thursday and Friday. Then we'll be back in on Monday, the 23rd, through Thursday, the 26th, off on Friday. Then we will be back in again on Monday, the 30th, and conclude those first 3 weeks of session on Thursday, February the 2nd. At that time, we'll be working diligently during that time to make sure that we have a continuing resolution, as we work with the Senate. But, Mr. Speaker, if there are any questions on the schedule, I'll be glad to answer them.
You do not appear to have any questions.
Mr. Speaker, I would ask this body to favorably consider this resolution and pass it out so we can continue our good work with the Senate and working with Leader Calsert over in the Senate. Thank y'all.
Is it true, Mr. Leader, that this builds in some flexibility in the likely event that the Falcons are in the Super Bowl?
I think that absolutely is going to be part of the plan, Mr. Speaker, and I wish those Falcons are doing pretty good, so we're pretty proud of them, as you know, and certainly we hope that's a question that we have to answer pretty soon. Yes, sir.
Is there any objection to the adoption of House Resolution 9? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. Chair recognizes the majority leader for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I'd move that we immediately transmit House Resolution 9 to the Senate.
Majority leader has moved that House Resolution 9 be immediately transmitted to the Senate. Is there objection? Chair hears none, and the motion is adopted, and that resolution is on its way to the Senate. Clerk will read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions.
Unnumbered House Resolution by Representative Williams, the 119th, and others commending and congratulating Henry M. Hank Huckabee on the occasion of his retirement. Unnumbered House Resolution by Representative Price, the 48th, recognizing Stephen M. Walsh, M.D., as Doctor of the Day for January 11, 2016, and commending him for his many contributions to the welfare of the citizens of the state of Georgia. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privileged resolutions.
Is there objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? The chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. Chair recognizes the chairman of the House Insurance Committee, Chairman Richard Smith, for an announcement.
Okay, folks, it's showtime. If you haven't had a call about your increase in premiums for your car insurance, I don't know where you've been. This coming Wednesday, January 11th at 8 a.m., the Insurance Committee will meet. We'll have a hearing on those factors that are impacting the increase in automobile insurance premiums. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Welch for an announcement.
Just so that we get to work quickly, the Subcommittee on Appropriations will meet in room 506 of the CLOB at 1:30 today for our first committee hearing. Thank you.
Clerk will read the caption to a privileged resolution.
Unnumbered House Resolution by Representative Glanton of the 75th, commending Clayton State University, recognizing January 10th, 2017 as Clayton State University Day at the state capitol. That completes the reading of the privileged resolution.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolution? The chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. All right, the doctor of the day is over on the Senate side, Dr. Bobby Kaufman, who I know that many of you know. His father served as opening day doctor of the day for many, many years. He's been our doctor of the day on opening day for a number of years now, a great friend of many of us, but I'm not sure that he's good enough of a friend for us to wait on him to get through in the Senate. But some of you know Dr. Kaufman. I hope you'll go by and say hello to him in the medical aid station downstairs if he does not come in before we leave. I want to remind you once again to sign and leave your oaths of office on your desk if you haven't already turned them in. The clerk's office will be collecting them at the end of our day. Please leave your voting cards in your desk drawer. Page photographs will be made at the rostrum immediately upon adjournment. Page photographs immediately upon adjournment. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader of the House for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand adjourned until Tuesday, January the 10th, 2017 at 10 a.m.
On the motion of the Majority Leader that this House adjourn until Tuesday, January 10, 2017 at 10 o'clock a.m. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed will say no. No. The ayes clearly have it. And this House will be adjourned until Tuesday at 10 a.m.